Good afternoon, learners. I hope you are all well. I am Celine Vermeulen. You will see there on the first slideshow, there's a picture of me. I'm going to teach you EMS for grade 9. And also on that slideshow, you will see there's my email address and my cell number. And I just want to tell you already now that please, if you have any questions or you don't understand anything at all or whatever, you're more than welcome to give me a call or email me a message. All right, before we're going to start, I just want to introduce myself a little bit because we are going to work together for the next few months at least. And it's important for me that we, like I said, learn each other. So from myself, my name is Celine Vermeulen. I'm married. I have 2 boys. And you won't believe it, my youngest one is in grade 9. And then my oldest one is in grade 11. And then I've got about 8 years teaching experience. I teach quite in different provinces all over the country of South Africa. So I was already in the Western Cape, the Limpopo province, and I'm even now in the Eastern Cape. And then, I've got my BA degree in education, and my main subject is EMS, accounting and business studies. So a warm welcome to you guys also, and I hope you're going to enjoy the lesson and that for the next few days you're going to stay with us. All right. Then just something about the subject EMS. I think you know it, but just again to explain it to you. EMS is basically 2 subjects that is working together. On the one hand, we've got the economics part. Okay, that is basically just learning work. There's nothing to understand, you just have to learn it. That also, when you're going to look for subjects that you need to choose from grade 10, then it's usually your business studies. And then on the other hand, we've got the accounting part. That is the more difficult part and the practical part that you really need to understand. And today's lesson is starting with accounting part. So please, you need to listen, you need to take notes, and if there's questions, you need to ask. And you will see we're going to work very slowly today. And I'm not maybe going to take the whole 45 minutes because it's very important to me that what we are going to do today, that you're going to understand this. But before we're going to start, like I said, we need to know each other. So I'm quickly going to give you a minute or two. I already see there's 1 or 2 people that is saying hello to me in the chat box. So I will give you some time so we can just greet each other. And then please, then we will stop that. And then we continue with the lesson. So if there's more people here that wants to say hello, you're more than welcome to do it right now. Sheldon, I can see you there away. Tanju, you as well. Hello. Oh, I can see that smiley face. Oh, it's wonderful to see that there's actually a lot of you that is participating right now. So I'm very, very glad about that. So Kwezi, Tanya, come, hello, Q, all of you, welcome. We're going to continue now with the lesson. So please don't chat anymore in the group unless there's something wrong or you have a question. All right, sorry, I just want to go back to the first slide. You will see the topic that we're going to do is the Debtors Journal. Debtors Journal, we're going to use the abbreviation, the DJ for that. You know by now already that you have a few journals that you've already started to learn from grade 8. In grade 8, basically you have done the CRJ, the Cash Receipts Journal, and the CPJ, the Cash Payments Journal, And now this is the new journal in grade 9 that you're going to learn. Basically, you're going to learn this one and another one in grade 9. But for now, and we will look at the rest of the week also at this one, is the Debtors journal, the D chain. Right. What is debtors? Debtors is people owing money to other businesses or other people. It means that a business is selling goods or renders services on credit. Important for me here is the keyword is credit. Okay, so think for yourself. Let's say we are buying, or we are a business, and we want to buy some stationery from, let's say, Makro, for instance. So we're going to purchase it from Makro, but on credit. So it means we're not going to pay Makro immediately. We're going to pay them on a later stage, but we receive the stationery immediately. Yeah. So we are owing Makro the money. So that is then, we are then the debtor. So what is debtors? It's people owing money to other businesses or other people. It means that a business is selling goods or renders services on credit. Now, you should have studied the accounting cycle earlier this year or even last year. So I just want to show you in the accounting cycle, where are we now? So if we look at the cycle, accounting starts with transactions. You can't do anything if there's not a transaction that is happening. So after transactions, you're going to complete some source documents. Now, what is source documents? That is like a check, a receipt, a cash register roll, invoice, etc. Source documents you have done in grade 8 and how to complete them. Then the next one is journals. Now, like I said earlier, you have done already the CRJ and the CPJ, and the new journal that we're going to add now is the DJ, the Debtors journal. Then after you have completed your journals, then you're going to write it into a general ledger. After the general ledger, you're going to complete some financial statements. Financial statements is like an income statement and a balance sheet. Yes.
Ma'am, can you please don't take out those? Can I just copy it, please?
Sorry, say again?
I want to copy down the page. Can you please wait a bit from taking it out?
Okay, but you can also get it afterwards. Then it is on the YouTube where you can also go and write it down or print it for yourself.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so don't worry, don't stress. If you want to copy it, you can afterwards. You can go and get it. I will put it onto the system for you guys, and then you can either re-look at the video, for instance, or then you can copy it, or you should print all these things as well. Okay. Right. So just getting back to the financial statements, okay, a financial statement is like an income statement or a balance sheet, but we're not going to look at them right now. And then after that, you need to do an analysis and an interpretation of statements, okay. So this is just the cycle, how accounting is working in the real business. But at this stage, we are with number 3 there with the journals, and we're going to look at the new journal we're going to add. That is the Debtors journal, the DJ. Okay, but before we get into the Debtors journal, I just want to summarize quickly the previous journals and what type of transactions is supposed to be written in these journals. Okay, I can see there was a question that was saying, are there more journals besides those 3 since we only need 2? I can tell you there are a lot of journals. Every year, how you're going to continue, you're going to add more and more journals. So like in grade 8, you've done 2. In grade 9, you're going to do 2 more. If you want to continue with accounting in grade 10, then if I just say it very quickly out of my head, I think there's about 3 more journals that you're going to add in grade 10, and like going to grade 11, every year you're going to add more and more and more journals. So yeah, it's not only those 2 or 3 of them. All right, but back to the slideshow. So if we look at, to summarize the journals, like I said, you've already done in the past the CRJ, the cash receipts journal. What type of transactions is written in the CRJ? It is about cash or money received. Okay, so think for yourself, let's say we are a plumbing business and there was something wrong with the taps or the pipes of a person, okay, and we repair it, and now that person pays us. So we received the money. Okay, let us say he's paying us 5,000 Rand, so we receive 5,000 Rand, so that transaction will go to the CRJ. And then you will see under that, with each of the journals, there are source documents involved. And with the CRJ, it is going to be the receipt and the CRR. CRR stands for cash register roll. All right. Then with the CPJ, that is the cash payments journal. Hello? Is there a question? Okay, I'm just going to request people, please, that you mute yourselves. Okay, if you have any questions, put it in the chat box. On a regular basis, we'll go and check if there is questions. Okay. Right, back to the CPJ is the cash payments journal. What type of transactions is written in the CPJ? Okay, people, the videos is not supposed to be on. Okay. It is about cash or money paid. Okay, like for instance, we are going to pay the municipality, okay, for water and electricity. So we pay that account. So that type of transaction will go to the CPJ. And there's only one source document involved there, and that is the check counter form. And then you will see, then I've added the new one there, the DJ, that is the debtors journal. Now, what type of transactions will be written into the debtors journal? That is all about credit sales. Credit sales, so we are selling something or somebody else is selling something to us, okay? But on credit, so we need to pay that person on a later stage, but we receive the things immediately. And there are only one source document involved there, and that is an invoice. So important, Tabili, I can see you have raised your hand. I'm going to be with you right now. So the CRJ, look there, it is cash or money received. Your receipt and the CRR, the cash register roll, is your source documents. With the CPJ, it's about cash or money paid, and your source document is a check counter form. And then with the debtors journal, it's about credit sales, and it is an invoice, your source document. Right, there was a hand that was raised. You can unmute yourself now and ask the question. Not? Okay. I've put a little bit of a picture there. I know it's not quite clear, but you will see now how a debtors journal is going to look like and how we're going to complete there. I see there was something that says that in the chat box that somebody is confused about the accounting cycle. Don't worry too much about this accounting cycle. It is just the way that how things is happening in the accounting world. So that is not so important. The important thing for today is that you need to understand how to complete the debtors journal. I just want to see, there was another one. In order to buy, there is a transaction made where you remunerate the service provider or producer. Then you are going to get a source document for instance, a receipt. Okay, but with this debtors journal, in your case, in grade 9, you only work with an invoice. The receipt is with the CRJ and the invoice is with the debtors journal. Okay, but as we go along, remember this is an introduction, so it is going to be quite confusing to you guys. Okay, but as we go along, then you will see how we're going to write the transactions into the debtors journal. So just see it as an introduction today. This whole week, okay, the rest of this week, we're still going to continue with the same topic, and we're going to do the things over and over and over until you understand what you need to do. Okay, so let's continue now first with that. Right, now the important part is starting actually. Here is the format of a debtors journal, a DJ. So at the top there, and let me just get me a red highlighter or a pen there so I can show you. Okay, so at the top there is the name of the business. So we're going to complete the debtors journal of Lamont Traders, for instance. So it's debtors journal of and the name of the business. Then you will see, like you know already with the other journals, you've got a lot of columns with headings, okay? And this is the headings or the format of the debtors journal. So your first column is the document number column. That means you're going to complete the source document there with the number. And I've told you with the debtors journal, your source document is an invoice. So every time you're going to write here, invoice number 1, invoice number 2, okay. Day is on which day the transaction is happening, like on the 5th or the 10th. Then here with details, or sometimes they will put the word debtors there, you're going to look for a name of a person in the transaction. Remember, I'm just showing you the format. We're going to look at examples now. Then you've got 2 columns here. That's your 2 amount columns, sales and cost of sales. All right, so in sales, you're going to write the selling price, and in cost of sales, you're going to write the cost price. Now, let's just quickly revise what's the difference between them. Let's say I'm buying a Coke at the shop, okay, a can of Coke. The can of Coke, I need to pay for it, let's say, 12 Rand. That is the selling price, the 12 Rand. But let's say I purchase it with ShopRite. ShopRite purchased it from another place, okay, let's say Makro, and then it was, for instance, 8 Rand. Then the 8 Rand is the cost price, and then you will write it in with cost of sales. So just important to know that your selling price, sales, is the bigger amount, and your cost price, cost of sales, is going to be big. Sorry, your smaller amount. But this is basically how the columns with the headings is going to look like. All right, but let's start to look at examples, and I'm going to repeat these examples over and over and over. So there is a transaction happening on the 4th. Okay, let's just first read the transaction. Issue invoice number 1 to S. Meyer for 1,200 Rand for goods purchased on credit. The business has a profit percentage of 30%. Right, still look at the transaction. Let's revise and see what information do we have. We've got a date, the 4th. We can see the source document, invoice number 1. There's a name of a person, S. Meyer. There's the amount you're going to work with, okay, 1,200 Rand. We see it was purchased on credit. Remember, I've told you credit is your keyword. And then they give you a profit percentage of 30%. Now, unfortunately, if you don't know this, you need to go back and revise these things that should have been done in term 1. And that is how to calculate a selling price and a cost price. If you don't know that, because there are certain formulas how to calculate that, then you are not going to understand today. So then I suggest that you go back and you do some revision work on that. Okay. Otherwise, your amounts is going to start to be a pain for you today. So here are the debtors journal. Let's see how we're going to write it in now that transaction. So first of all, your document number, I've told you every time an invoice, they told us it's invoice number 1, and you use just an I for invoice number 1. The day on which the transaction happened, that is on the 4th. Then here with debtors or details, you need to look for a name of a person. And there is the name of the person in the transaction is Meyer. Then they said they issue invoice number 1 to S. Meyer for 1,200 Rand for goods purchased on credit. So that 1,200 Rand is then your selling price. So that will go to the sales column. But now's the problem. They don't give you the cost of sales. You need to go and calculate the cost of sales by using the profit percentage. And how do you do that? And there at the bottom, I've indicated to you basically the formula and how you can go and calculate the cost price. Yes, I can see they asked there the accounting cycle, and if there is in the DJ, if there's not a sundry account, no sundry accounts with the DJ, only these columns. So basically the debtors journal is actually a very small journal. But like with the CRJ and the CPJ, I know you end up with the sundry accounts. So the DJ, yeah, I see they say yeah, the DJ is easier than the others. Yes, I promise you, it is actually easier. It is just that you need to know how to calculate either the selling price or the cost price. Okay, so getting back to how we're going to calculate the cost of sales. I've told you here the selling price is given the 1,200 Rand. You must go and calculate the cost price. How do you do that? You're going to take your sales or selling price of 1,200 Rand and you're going to multiply it with 100 divided by 130. Why the 130 here? Because at the top with the transaction, they told you there that the profit percentage is 30%. So let's say you're going to take 1,200 times 100 divided by 130, and then you will get this answer of 923 Rand and 7 cents, and that is your cost price. And now you can check, yes, selling price, the bigger amount, the cost price, the smaller amount. Okay, the question is, do we have the balancing sheet and general ledger for the DJ? Yes, we're getting to a later stage. We're going to get to that. So at this stage, we're just going to look at how to complete the journal. After this journal, we're also going to look at the other journal you need to know, and then we will only start moving to general ledgers and all those things. Okay. Right, so I'm going quickly to repeat this transaction now. All right, let's first read again. Issue invoice number 1 to S. Meyer for 1,200 Rand for goods purchased on credit. Business have a profit percentage of 30%. So again, in document number, invoice and your number, the day on which the transaction happens. The debtor is the name of the person. In sales is your selling price. That is the one that they're normally going to give to you. And you need to go and calculate the cost price or the cost of sales. Right. How do you calculate the cost of sales? at the bottom is your formula. You're going to take your selling price times 100 divided by 100 plus whatever the percentage is going to be given to you. Okay, let's move to the next example. There's two more examples, but let's first take the one on the third. And let's read. Sell stock to L Many for 1,500 Rand. Issue invoice number 20. The profit percentage is 20%. Before we look at the entry, let's see what is our details. We've got the date, the 3rd. We've got the name, L Many. We've got the amount, 1,500 Rand. We've got the source document, invoice number 20. And we've got the percentage to go and calculate the cost of sales. So right, now we check. First column is asking your document number column. So that means you're going to say it's going to be invoice number 20. And you use the I for invoice. Day, the transaction happened on the 3rd. Debtor is the name of the debtor, name of a person, and it's L Many. The amount, 1,500 Rand, is going to be your selling price, so it's going to be with sales. You need to go and calculate your cost of sales. Now, I didn't put it in here, so let's recap. How do you calculate your cost of sales? You take the 1,500 Rand, you're going to multiply it with 100 divided by 120. Why the 20? Because your profit percentage is 20. And then you will get that answer of 1,250. Right, so there's another example. I just want to quickly check here again in the box because I can see it's going and going. Okay, yeah, people, although if you understand it's very good and well, but it's always good to overhear these things, then you can understand it quite well. Remember, it's going to get more difficult at the end of the day. So yes, please stay online and see how it is going. Okay. Then the next transaction is on the 10th, but there's a catch on this one. Okay, so let's see. On the 10th, it is saying, goods were sold on credit to S. Brewer with a cost price, okay, with a cost price of 1,100. Invoice 001. Profit percentage 65%. All right, so let's see the information that we have. Okay, and I want to say, people, if there's questions about the work, okay, please, then I will give you some time now to ask. Otherwise, anything else, keep it now for yourself and out on the chat box and concentrate on the lesson. Okay, so again, let's just revise what information do we have in this transaction. So on the 10th, there's your date. We've got a name of a person, S. Brewer. We've got the source document, invoice 001. Okay, and we've got the profit percentage is 65%. But the catch here is they don't give you the selling price. They say with a cost price of 1,100. So this time they're giving you the cost price, the cost of sales, and you need to go and calculate the selling price, the sales. Right, but how are we going to write it in? So we start with the document number, and it was said it was invoice 001. Again, just the I for invoice. The day on which the transaction happened is on the 10th. With debtor, you look for the name of a person. Okay, there is the name of the person, S. Brewer. And remember, the catch here is, this time they didn't give you sales, they have given you the cost of sales of 1,100 Rand. So you're going to write that amount in with cost of sales. And now you need to go and calculate sales, the selling price. And there at the bottom, I've given you that formula, how to go and calculate that. So how do we calculate the sales or the selling price? You take your cost of sales, that means your 1,100 Rand. You're going to multiply it with 165 divided by 100. Why the 65 there? Because the profit percentage was 65%. And then you will get the answer of 1815. That is going to be your sales, your selling price. Okay, I'm going to do the 10th again. It was saying goods were sold on credit, remember that's your keyword, to S. Brewer with a cost price of 1,100 Rand. So again, when they're telling you with a cost price, then you know the amount must go to cost of sales, and you need to go and calculate sales. Invoice 001, and the profit percentage was 65%. Okay, so the document number, we have the invoice 001. It's on the 10th. We've got the name of the debtor is Brewer. This time they have given us the cost of sales, so you're going to write it in the cost price. You need to go and calculate the selling price. Okay, how are you going to do that? There is the formula at the bottom. You're taking your cost of sales, the 1,100, times 165, because your profit percentage was 65%, and you're going to divide it by 100. Okay, so basically, that is the new information for today. All right, I don't want to give too much information because a lot of you is going to struggle in the beginning with it. So what somebody is saying here, ma'am, can I use IN to abbreviate invoice? Yeah, that will also work perfectly. So either just the I for invoice or IN for invoice, that will also work. Okay. So what I'm just going to do is, I'm going to revise quickly for today. So I'm just going to go back quickly to some of the slides. Right. Specifically, I'm going to look at the new journal, the DJ, the Debtors Journal. What type of transactions is going to be written into this journal? It is about credit sales. Important, the keyword is credit. What is your source document? Every time it's going to be an invoice. Right, then we're going to see how the format of the Debtors Journal is going to look like. The different headings is there. You're going to have a document number column, a day column, a details or debtors column, a sales column, and a cost of sales column. Okay, and your sales and your cost of sales is basically your amount columns. If we look at examples like this one, okay, then you look, for instance, where is your document number? Then you see, oh, there it is, invoice number 1. The day is the day on which the transaction happened, like here on the 4th. The debtor is the name of the person, the name of the debtor. So you will find that in the transaction, in this case, S. Meyer. The amount, 1,200 Rand, is going to be your selling price. So that will go with sales. And then they will give you a profit percentage. And now you can go and calculate the cost of sales. And then look especially at that formula at the bottom of the page, how to go and calculate the cost of sales. You take your sales amount of 1,200 Rand, and you're going to multiply it with 100 divided by 130. Why the 30? Because I've told you the profit percentage is 30%. Then the next transaction, the other third, is exactly in the same way as the previous slide shows. So just to recap, there is the invoice number. There is the day on which the transaction happened. The debtor is Almeni, that is the name of the debtor. They've given you the selling price of 1,500 Rand. You need to go and calculate the cost price of cost of sales. But the catch was with the next one on the 10th. So we're just going to reread that one. goods were sold on credit to SVR with a cost price of 1,100 Rand. Invoice 001, and the profit percentage is 65%. So how are you going to write it in? Right, document number, we've got it as invoice 001. On the 10th, your debtor's name of a person is prepared, but in this case, they have given you the cost price. Okay, so the 1,100 is going directly to cost of sales. Then you need to go and calculate sales. How do you do that? You going in the formula is at the bottom of the page. You take your cost of sales of 1,100. You're going to multiply it with 165 divided by 100. Why the 65 there? Because they have given you the profit percentage of 65%. So at the end of the day, okay, the first, let's say 3 columns is always going to be the same type of info. Invoice number, day, name of a person. But then the transaction is going to tell you, either they're going to give you the sales amount and you need to go and calculate cost of sales, or vice versa. That means they're going to give you maybe the cost of sales amount and you need to go and calculate sales. And this is where you need the formulas that you have studied actually in term 1, how to go and calculate these things. And that is why I said, if you don't know the formulas, people, then you have to go back and revise, because otherwise you're going to have some problems. Right, it's time for questions. So if you have maybe a question, you're more than welcome to put it in the chat box. I will look out for it. Otherwise, that is going to be it for today. No homework yet. Next time, tomorrow, we're going to continue with the same topic. We're going to do a few exercises where we're going to practice these things. And like I said, this we will continue until Friday. Maybe Friday we can start already with the next journal. So I'm just waiting to see if there's any questions. Questioning is, are there 6 journals? Okay, there are quite a few, but as I said, at this stage, for the end of this year, you're going to know 4 of them. The CRJ, CPJ, the DJ that we are doing now, and then 1 more new journal we're going to do. Okay, so just don't worry on how many journals there is, okay? I can just tell you there's many, but just know the ones that you need to know up till now or for this year. All right. Doesn't look like if there's any more questions. All right, guys, thank you very much, then. Then I will see you tomorrow. Please stay online tomorrow. Come back and listen to the lessons. It will just get better and better the more we're going to do this. All right, have a wonderful evening and to see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.